So I've been doing photography both as a hobby and professionally for over 12 years now, and while 12 years isn't a long time to compare to some photography legends out there, I do feel like my experience learning photography in the modern day internet era will allow me to give some relatable advice.
It's a journey, just like Ariana Grande says.
So the first thing I want to bring up is that photography is a journey, not a destination. And unfortunately, phones have really conditioned us to make it feel like a destination. Often people who are looking to buy a DSLR or mirrorless camera will think it will automatically give them better results than their phones. But what they don't realize is that our phones actually have a lot of software inside of them to enhance every image we take, whereas cameras have none of that. Or rather, it's not built in. So more often than not, people complain about the images they take on their cameras are coming out dull and underwhelming compared to the bright and vibrant ones from their phones. Now, the reason why the images from our cameras are not as nice right after we hit the button is because it's giving us, the users, the options to adjust it later. Kind of like the software in our phones, except we're gonna be that software that's gonna make the images better. We call that processing or editing, and we can really transform the photos that we take into art. Remember, it's a journey. And photography really is an experience, from the feeling of holding the camera, to choosing the lens's best fit for what you want to capture, to actually hitting the shutter button and processing the photo later on your computer. And that's really the fun of it, and I think it's important to have this mindset first before jumping in and spending a ton of money on camera gear.
So much money! Wow!
Speaking of camera gear, there are so many different ones out there, right? Canon, Nikon, Sony, Fuji, Leica, but I'll tell you this right now, it really doesn't matter which one you end up getting because they're all so good, except Sony. They're the best. So I would equate this more to shopping for a car. You should absolutely try to go to your local camera store, the dealership, and just get a feel of the different camera brands and models to see which one resonates with you more. Maybe it's the aesthetic of the camera, maybe the menu system seems less alien, maybe it's just small and compact and that's what you like. And that's the beauty of going in person, is that the choices become much more personal and intimate. However, if you don't live near a camera store, think of a photographer you like or a creator who inspires you and find out what they're using. I know us millennials right now, we're hopping on that Fujifilm bandwagon. Gen Zs are eyeing the Canon G7X, and I know it's cringe to go for the hype stuff, but hey, who cares? If it inspires you to pick up a camera and go shoot, that's all that matters. As long as the camera has some type of manual mode, you can learn all the basics of photography on it, and there are a plethora of resources for every camera brand and every make and model here on the internet, especially YouTube. So subscribe if you're gonna get a Sony.
How do I subscribe?
Okay, in all seriousness, do not ever get yourself involved with these online debates about which camera brand's the best, or which sensor size is the best, or how many megapixels is the best. It's fun to joke about, but nothing to pop a blood vessel for, because it really doesn't matter. There's a modern day saying now, go touch some grass, and that phrase, as meme as it is part of the reason why I love photography so much, because it actually gets me out there into the world to capture its beauty. As lame as that sounds. But I'm not looking to be a Nat Geo photographer. I'm just looking to experience life, and photography is giving me that purpose. Anyways, I'm getting off track here. But yeah, more megapixels doesn't mean the camera is better. Some of the best cameras out there shoot only 24 megapixels, while some phones, good or bad, can shoot 100 megapixels. But it kind of boils down to the sensor size inside. And phones have probably some of the smallest sensors. So when you're choosing a camera, look out for these types of sensor sizes: 1 inch, micro four thirds, APS-C, and full frame. The bigger sensor sizes generally means more dynamic range, more background blur, and better low light performance. But without boring you with too many technical mumbo jumbo, I recommend looking for an APS-C sensor camera. APS-C is incredibly general. Majority of the camera brands out there will sell cameras with this type of sensor, and it's what's gonna get you that nice quality step up from phones. Now, my channel primarily focuses on Sony, which is why I joke about it a lot. So if you need some budget recommendations for Sony, you can queue up this video right up here. In terms of megapixels, 20 to 24 is more than enough for social media and for printing.
Did he say they got a print?
Now, chances are you'll likely get an interchangeable lens camera, meaning you can put on different lenses to get different looks. Now, just make sure you're buying the lens that can be mounted onto your camera. For example, if you're getting a Canon mirrorless, make sure the lenses that you're getting is for the RF mount, for Sony E mount, for Fuji X mount. And I bring this up because chances also are you're likely going to get a bundle that comes with a small zoom lens. We call that the kit lens because it comes in the kit. But unfortunately, these kit lenses don't do your cameras and your lens justice. So in order for you to really see the difference from what you would get from your phone, I would recommend getting a prime lens. If you're getting a full frame camera, get either a 35mm or 50mm f1.8. If you're getting an APS-C camera, get either a 23mm or 35mm f1.8. The f-stop here, f1.8, is really what's going to allow you to experience what true background blur looks like. You might have heard the word bokeh before, and this is where you'll find out why so many people are obsessed with them. And the f1.8 is what's going to allow for better nighttime photos. There are of course f1.4, f1.2 lenses, which will slightly do better at the things that I just mentioned, but f1.8 is typically enough and at a much more affordable price range.
And the price range is?
So speaking of price, photography, like most hobbies and professions, can get really expensive really fast. But the good news is that unlike most hobbies and professions, the latest isn't always the greatest. Minus a few quality of life features, cameras that are 10 years old today are honestly just as good. As long as they have some type of manual mode, decent autofocus, and it can shoot RAW, you'll be able to get results that are on par with modern day systems. Trust me, you can't go wrong with Jason Vong. And let me tell you, secondhand camera bodies are cheap. But don't buy from Craigslist or eBay. Save that for when you have more experience. But if you know nothing about cameras right now, you should only shop from reputable places like your local camera store or online camera shops like B&H and Adorama, or sites that specializes in used cameras like KEH.com. With some research, you can probably pick up a decent body for $200 to $300. Take that money you save and put it towards one of the lenses that I mentioned. There's an incredibly old and dumb saying, date bodies and marry lenses, and I dislike that phrase very much, but it does have some merits. New cameras are like phones. There's a new model every year, so prices will plummet for the older models. Quality lenses, on the other hand, tend to hold their value longer, so they're worth dropping a pretty penny for.
Hey, that must have set you back a pretty penny.
Alright, so you got your camera, now what? How do you actually get better at photography? Stick with one or two genres of photography that you like, whether that's portrait, cityscape, landscape, etc., and just practice the hell out of it, because the best way to get better is honestly just making mistakes and finding the solutions online. And I say stick with one or two genres because you will learn all of your photography basics there, and those basics will carry over to other genres of photography, so you're not going to be wasting your time. There are still things to this day that I'm still learning about landscape photography, and I've been doing this particular genre for over 5 years now. But that's the fun of it, discovering new things. Remember, photography is a journey, a long one at that too, so the most important thing to do is to take your time and have fun with it.
Just have fun with it.
Once again, my name is Jason Vong, and if you need help with the basics, I have a playlist that you can click right up here to get started. And if you enjoy this video, then do me a favor, stick around and listen to what my sponsor Squarespace has to say. Squarespace is an all-in-one platform to create beautiful websites. No coding knowledge needed. Just simply choose from their many templates and designs. Perfect for photographers and online shop owners. Use my link down below for a 14-day free trial, and when you're ready to launch, you can use my code JASONVONG to save 10% off your first purchase of your website or domain. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Good luck with your photography journey, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.